Hey everyone, it's good to see you. I have missed being on for a little while. I have been busy, really working hard on my health coaching business and just really excited to continue to grow and expand my business, Upgrade Your Life Health Coaching. There is certainly a need for getting to the roots of health issues everywhere I look. People that I know posting about various health problems. They're looking for friends, ideas for support, and it's so important to have quality support. And you just have to be cautious, of course, of what type of advice, recommendations you're taking from just anyone. And I wanted to first have you let me know if you're here and put a 1 if you're tuning in right now live. Let me know where you are tuning in from. And then if you watch this later on the replay, then put a 2 and replay to let me know that you're watching later. Also would love to know where you're tuning in from if you watch it later. So I wanted to talk about the difference between something that is common and something that is normal. So a lot of times I see examples of this where, people start to just become, I guess, almost immune, so to speak, to things, and it in a way that's not good, right? So if we just are around something so long and we're not fazed by it anymore, we could start to believe that it is typical or that it's normal. And that is something that I think if we really think hard about it, there are multiple examples of that concept around us. So let's think about maybe back to the days where microwaves were invented, and they started being sold more and more homes started using microwaves, right? Prior to them being introduced, they were a novelty. Maybe, if someone had the first microwaves, they were looked at as special and, wow, you have one, but I don't have one, right? So it was like a new concept at one time. Same thing with a smartphone, right? Certain technologies. And, but after a while, when everybody has access to those things, they become common, and sometimes they may be taken for granted, or maybe they're actually used too much because they're so accessible. So let me know some examples in the comments that you can think of regarding, it could be technology, it could be maybe it's a particular belief about something where maybe originally the belief was viewed as kind of crazy out there. And eventually when people started to accept that particular idea or those ideas, then all of a sudden it became trendy or popular and commonplace. Again, so many examples that we could probably come up with. So what I find, especially with health, is that over many years, we have received a lot of programming around what health means. And unfortunately, depending on what kind of programming you have received and allowed into your life, you could have a completely different definition of health than your neighbor or other people in your life. And I can tell you that, certainly your definition and your views on things can change. I think you probably are aware of that. You probably can think of some things in your life that now you have different beliefs about than you did when you were younger. But I can tell you that when I look back on my life, I had some major shifts and turns in my views on health and what it actually means to be truly healthy. And one of the best ways that was extremely frustrating to figure out, or that helped me to figure out this new definition, this new way of being and new way of living, was going through chronic health issues. And I realized 7 years, it's not working. This is not working. It felt like I was banging my head into a brick wall over and over again, going to various appointments, often to be told the same things. Let me write you a prescription. Here you go. Not actually solving the problem that I went to the appointment to try to solve in the first place. Sometimes I was being handed prescriptions for things that I didn't even have, and I knew the signs and symptoms, and I was still being told, try this, even though it was not, I had absolutely no sign or symptom of that particular problem. Very frustrating. So I want to give some other examples from my own life. So I have, my own health issues in the past that I have extremely large numbers of stories that I can share and often share with my health coaching clients that have taught me so much and that can then help them in their health journeys. But I also have a lot of stories from the clients that I've worked with in my background as a speech therapist. So I have seen many people of all ages dealing with challenges with their speech, their language, their swallowing, people who have had strokes. I'm trained both in medical speech therapy as well as school-based educational speech therapy. And over the last 14 years of being a speech therapist, I have been increasingly alarmed by the number of people having major health issues of all ages and speech, the communication challenges, and if there's like swallowing challenges and other issues attached to that, often the part that I was addressing for speech was just it's very important, but it's a very minute, small part of this overall health problem that the person is experiencing. But I so often saw that the whole picture was being ignored. Send this specialist in, send the speech therapist in to try to fix her part. And it was extremely frustrating because I don't view health as being one part of the body, one particular symptom, one particular specialty. It is a whole person with all different body systems, digestive system, respiratory system, nervous system, neurological system. Everything works together well when the body is optimal and when it's running optimal. But unfortunately, the days that we're living in for many, many years have been an environment of many things that assault our health. And often I see people who are well-meaning, but they are taking, again, recommendations, suggestions, advice from whoever they can find information from. And those same things could be extremely harmful to them, but they don't even realize that. But yet they're seeking help. And so I just hope that this is a reminder to you to be cautious about who you're listening to, and just because something worked for one person doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, because your body is unique and different than your neighbors or your friend or, every person is unique. So you really need to keep that in mind. And if you are taking quick advice or recommendations from someone who doesn't know much about you and your history, that is also a concern. And I would hope that you will reflect on that and consider that going forward. But anyway, so I've talked a lot about the difference between common and normal. So if there's a lot of people having strokes, a lot of people who are having speech, language, swallowing problems, gut problems, and on, just because it's common does not mean that it's normal now. Okay, so sometimes you might go to an appointment and a doctor might say to you, oh, this is really common now. Here's a prescription. Or, yeah, don't worry about that. Like, everybody who's been in here today has the same thing. Don't worry about it. That is so incorrect. Again, just because something is common and there's a high frequency of it does not make it normal. Go with your gut. Listen to your body. So many people have shut off signals about problems going on in their body and are listening to everything and everybody else, the news, other things, instead of truly tapping into their own health and their own power. And so one of the things I love to do in my health coaching is educate and empower my clients to take their health back into their own hands. I have been talking to so many people, and it's so enlightening talking to people about times in their life where they have been pressured to do things, or having to say a big fat no again and again to different medical practitioners, different providers who are trying to coerce them or convince them that they need to do something for their body that they don't want to do. And so you've probably heard me speak on this before if you've heard me talk, but anything that you put on your body and in your body has an effect. And some things are a lot more harmful to put on and in your body than others. And so do not believe people who try to tell you that that is not the case. My history is that I had an autoimmune condition that had a lot of inflammation. I had a lot of challenges with energy, was feeling fatigued and tired all the time, and had significant difficulty finding adequate help for it, going to various providers. And autoimmune is where your immune system starts attacking your own body's tissues. The tissues that your immune system decides to attack can vary by person. So one person could come to me and say, oh, Emily, I've got, health issues that are related to, I have really bad rashes, or I have some major acne and I can't seem to get it under control. Another person might tell me that they're having major sleep problems. Another person might tell me that they're having major gut issues and they feel sick a lot when they eat, or they're having major reflux problems. Those could be all three different people with what seems to be very different issues, but have some of the same triggers, some of the same issues are causing the same thing. And so I guess what I'm here to tell you too is don't believe people that make you think that you are some weird anomaly, that you have some major health problem that nobody else in the history of the world has. And that is how I felt when I went 7 years seeking help for my chronic health problems. They couldn't give me a diagnosis. They were like, you have autoimmune. Eventually that was determined. I think it's autoimmune, but we're not really sure what kind. And because people are unique, they do not fit into a checklist. They do not fit into, the way that the medical system looks at things, which is very canned and cookie cutter approach. We need to look at people as unique individuals with, unique bodies, different body types, different lifestyles. And I'm also extremely tired of hearing, and I've heard this for 14 years as a speech therapist, going to professional presentations, listening to people who were, looked at highly, maybe even worshipped for their research efforts, but all they wanted to do was look at the genetics and blame genes and blame parents for why their child has problems. That to me is unacceptable. The environmental piece is paramount and it needs to stop being ignored. What you put in your mouth every day, what you put on your body every day, absolutely makes a difference. And so there is a huge difference between being told your genes suck, your grandparents had this problem, you're going to have it too, or your parents had this problem, so you're going to have it too. I see so many people telling me that they're afraid of getting what their parent had or their grandparents had, and I have compassion for that. But what you need to realize is you have so much power. You make decisions for yourself every single day that have a huge impact on whether or not you are healthy at the cellular level and basically creating every aspect of your body. Your body renews itself if given proper nutrition and proper care. If you know that you need to start taking better care of yourself, maybe you're not quite sure what that looks like. Don't worry, I understand. I wasn't quite sure either. I used to think I was eating and living pretty healthy, and I still developed a chronic health problem and needed to figure some things out. I have a group, complimentary group here on Facebook. I've had it for a couple of years. If you weren't aware of that, I try to put my information out there, but sometimes it's hard to reach people. But it is a group for guys and girls who want to prioritize their self-care. And they are taking their power back and taking care of themselves, no matter what their boss says, no matter what their job is demanding of them, no matter whether or not their health and their problems are being blamed on like any particular circumstance. They are ready to stop the excuses and take control of their own health today. So if you're interested in joining that group, you can put self-care in the comments, or you could private message me, and I'm happy to send that information to you to join the group. And if you haven't heard already, I have some availability for health and wellness consults in November and December. A lot of times people will do what's common, like I said, they will wait until they feel it's the perfect time, or maybe you'll wait until January, like thinking, oh, okay, when I get to the new year, then I'll start prioritizing my health. But consider what you're delaying. If you're feeling like crap, you're feeling like crud, do you want to wait another month or 2 months to get started? Or would you prefer to get started feeling better now? That is something too that, for my own life, there's always that temptation to wait and say, oh, I can just wait a little longer. But some things you shouldn't wait on. And I've found very much so in my own life that your health is not something you want to procrastinate on. It is not at all. And if you've seen, examples in your own life, seeing the numbers of people, not waking up some mornings, passing away suddenly, I think it's hopefully been a wake-up call, if it wasn't before, to really start prioritizing your health. And like I said, truly understanding what it means to be healthy. And it means a lot more than going to an appointment and being given a prescription. So I hope this has made you stop and think. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? What do you think is important to being healthy and staying healthy? And is it just because health issues might be common these days, does that mean that it's normal? Let me know. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing evening. And one more thing I wanted to share with you. So there is a committee, I guess it's called, that is related to the CDC. They supposedly met today, and they're supposed to be meeting tomorrow, I believe it is. They were supposed to be taking public comment, which they are taking public comment on what your beliefs are regarding the COVID injections for children. They want to add that to the schedule for children, even given all of the information that's out there, and even people from their own organization saying that it does not work. So basically, there was a committee that voted today on that particular issue. And what is upsetting and disturbing about that is, why are they voting on something that has not even finished the public comment period? So if you're interested in knowing a little more about that, let me know, because I can send something your way. But there is a lot of blatant disrespect for people's bodies and what's going on and in them for the sake of profit and money. And I am sick of that as well. I could tell you stories over the years of how I was treated with things being pushed on me, and also how that did not help my health issues and the chronic illness and the autoimmune that I was experiencing. Looking back, it probably was a big contributor in helping snowball that autoimmune and inflammation. So if you are someone who cares about children, if you have children, you have grandchildren, you have nieces and nephews, I encourage you, if you are not aware of all of the recommended injections on the CDC's injection schedule, go to their website, CDC, and check out how many of those things they recommend for children. See from birth to 5 if there is any year that they do not recommend something be put into that child's body. And so then once you look at that, think about whether or not you think it's appropriate to add yet another one, the COVID one, in there as well. As someone who has worked with children for 14 years, seeing the numbers of kids who are, their parents report that they have stopped talking, they were speaking and then they stopped talking, children who have extremely poor focus, who are running around the room, and before I could even work with them in speech, you just simply have to try to figure out a way to connect with them and get them to sit still long enough and pay attention to you. Teachers know this. People who are working with kids on a daily basis know this. So I just encourage you, if you do not see the concern and the issues going on in our children these days, that you need to spend some time around children in a school, volunteer at your church, volunteer somewhere where there are children, and you will see the number of kids dealing with a lot of different problems. And it's not just speech issues. It's not just focus issues. It goes way deeper than that. Behaviors are what we see on the surface. It's like an iceberg. You need to go below the tip of the iceberg and see that there's a lot more going on there with their health. And it is a major concern for our future. So check that out. I couldn't not mention that because we have people in high positions making decisions for us, our health and our children, and we need to pay attention and we need to speak up because so much has been done behind the scenes, trying to be done covertly and overtly. And if you don't like what's happening, then we need to stand up and try to make a change. So anyway, for me, my mission is to help people to, again, be empowered with their own health, see what they can do, be supported in what they can do each day to upgrade their health and their life. Regardless of the circumstances, regardless of some of these decisions that leaders are making in government and things like that. But I believe that we all deserve to live happy, healthy lives, and we deserve to have freedom in what is put on and in our body, and we deserve to have adequate, thorough information about those things, especially when they're being pushed on us. We need to have the knowledge and know the safety of things. So yeah, I could go on, but that's what I got for you guys tonight. So have a good one. Thanks for tuning in, Katie, in New York. Have a great one. Be well.